Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for a weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. Global markets hit a 2-week high as inflation worries continue to ebb and flow. OpenAI, this is a group headed up by Elon Musk and Sam Altman and a few others in Silicon Valley, have stated that artificial intelligence will generate enough wealth to pay each adult $13,500 a year. And in fact, what they quote is that my work at OpenAI, this is a quote from Sam Altman, my work at OpenAI reminds me every day about the magnitude of the social and economic change that is coming sooner than most people believe. He continued, software that can think and learn will do more of the work than people do now. And that makes sense to us. On the industry side, Kraken is considering a listing on a U.S. market and looks to debut next year. So we'll closely follow that. eToro, this is a brokerage trading firm. They are going public via a merger with a blank check company, or a SPAC, at a $10.4 billion valuation. And of course, some of you may already know that eToro provides trading on the traditional markets and crypto markets. We are also noting a new trend in AI. This has actually been happening for quite some time when you look at ASICs and FPGAs. Chip development. There are companies producing their own chips, and this is a future operation for our company. We have always been interested in leveraging nonlinear calculations using FPGAs, and we look to leverage any kind of chip architecture developed by any company or ourselves in the future. On the industry side, we're also observing that half of all news is crypto related. So most of the financial market news sources that you see today, 50% of what they talk about is related to cryptocurrency and the entire crypto markets. In our industry as well, we are monitoring trends related to AI for drug discovery. And Databricks is a company that specializes in providing data to AI companies. Databricks is an interesting company. It's an analog of ours, and we are looking at Databricks as a potential partner. We'll talk more about Databricks in just a bit. Under themes and events, the Roblox IPO occurred, and a basket could have been created for the Roblox IPO. The announcement of Databricks being floated has also resulted in a basket of both stocks and crypto related to that IPO. Last week we talked about SPAC baskets. This week we're talking about NFT baskets. And we'll be looking closely at how to leverage our technology, our algorithms, datasets, to generate baskets that relate to specific subgroups or sectors in crypto, NFT being one of them. On the corp side, we have new hires, and what I'd like to do is go over some of the people that we have today in the company working on engineering and a few other operations. But first, we'll start with our Scientific Advisory Board. We are building out our SAB, Scientific Advisory Board, which would include Raf Podowski, Mina Bissell, Syra Meehan, Yalda Uls, Michael Wright, Michael I. Jordan, and David Blee. We are waiting to hear back from a few, but that would be the foundation of our Scientific Advisory Board. On the design side, Jim Leftwich, we've got Cam and Chartflow, and Manu Jain. And on the PR side, we've got Chris Bartlett and Peter Zakowski. On the engineering side, we've got William Wong, Manu Jain, Pilsang Park. We've got Magnus, Arena, Nihit, Yashi, Radek, Ian, Christopher Searson, Bito Bunko. So onboarding employees does take a bit of time. We've been extra busy expanding the company and scaling, essentially. And this is something that comes natural or organic as your company begins to take on momentum. We'll also be traveling to Malta to meet with our attorneys. We have a law firm there that handles everything for us in Malta. We are going to be moving to the US, and we're preparing for that. On the engineering, product, QA and testing and operations side, we're continuing to work on our data engineering pipeline. This includes making sure that updates happen as fast as possible with datasets, in addition to enabling components for high throughput testing and automated back testing for any individual, any institutional client or retail. We are also engaging in a core operation related to AI and ML. That operation relates to optimization, and optimization is something that happens continually after you lay out your initial, or after you architect your initial data engineering pipeline, along with the algorithms and results and measurements for precision and accuracy. You then begin to optimize. And for us, optimization means increasing precision, accuracy, defined by returns. This means that when we produce a new data set with our new data engineering pipeline, we want to make sure that that data set, for example, with the GameStop data set, we want to make sure that data set outperforms the former data set that we produced with the older engineering pipeline. And that happens with optimizations. And the kinds of optimizations that we make are proprietary, so we don't discuss details related to them. On the customers, partners, and collaborators side, we have everyone in process: CloudQuant, GNC, NuData, and NuData has found the top 5 funds, according to them, the top 5 funds in terms of AUM are interested in meeting with us. And we are going to pursue those relationships and open dialogues with these as soon as we can. We will have to throttle because demand is greater than supply in our case when it comes to customer demand. And then, of course, we have Kraken, who contacted us through CloudQuant, and S&P. And we're talking with Patrick, Arian, and Daniel. And on the crypto indexing side, we were talking with Sharon Leibowitz and Peter Rothman. We'll notify the public on next steps with S&P, that there are, as described last week, 3 tracks with S&P. I would say we are 100% confident on all 3 tracks with S&P right now. On the exchanges side, S&P comes first, then Kraken. On the IR, PR, and Marcom side, our pipeline is full. We are simply waiting on the timelines of our large customers, our primary customers. Under questions from the trader base, we are holding questions until next week. So all questions will have answered next week, but you are able to send any questions anytime online through one of our channels, any of our channels. Under strategy, we'd like to talk a little bit about data sets and the correlations inside our data sets. The way you establish a correlation between two objects, between two entities, between two people, between two stocks, between two cryptos, between two genes or proteins, is you automate the processing of language. And that includes building a language model. Inside that, well, during the process of building that language model, you've got calculations that take place. If those calculations are inaccurate or not as precise as they could be, not as optimized, then you will have a bad correlation or bad relationship between two objects. The way that we establish relationships between objects compared to our competitors would be the way that perhaps a small child might compare two things with one another or come up with a correlation score between two things versus a 30-year-old. It's all in the algorithms in terms of creating correlations. The better your correlations are, the stronger the relationships are. And of course, that leads to either greater discoveries or profit. On a different note, we are also targeting high throughput testing as a primary customer offering. And this would mean that if you are an institution or an enterprise and you'd like to extract signal or test for alpha, we will provide you with a new data set every minute to test and guide you through that process. And we have hundreds of billions of data set permutations available. We are also noting a trend from some of our customers as we talk to them about our backtests and our performance metrics related to the Sharp and Sortino ratio. Most of our customers are not interested today in the Sharp or Sortino ratio based on the market environment being a risk-on market environment right now. And when you look at profit versus the Sharp or Sortino ratio, you're looking at something that's simply just more attractive to our customers right now. They are interested in taking the risk and looking at the returns and overweighting on the returns, essentially, more so than the Sharp or Sortino ratio. That's good news for us. Next, we've got Databricks. And Databricks is, as mentioned, an analog of VectorspaceAI. Amazon, Alphabet, and Salesforce are all investing in a $28 billion company. This is the headline that crunches big data. Databricks is a software company, and this is according to some of the recent press. Databricks is a software company that helps prepare data for analysis and artificial intelligence models. Amazon has not historically done many late-stage startup investments, but they're doing this now with Databricks, and many other groups are investing in Databricks. And they're probably not going to go out at $28 billion. They're likely going to go out at a little more than that. The transaction, which is looking at the high 28 billion range, shows the top 3 U.S. cloud providers recognize that the company represents an opportunity similar to Snowflake, another firm with cloud software that helps companies manage data. Managing data and providing data sets are two different things. Managing data, like Snowflake does, is extremely important. Being able to provide data sets or distill that raw data down that's stored in data lakes and managed by companies like Snowflake is what Databricks helps with. And they are directly downstream from VectorspaceAI. This has been a pre-recorded call. If you have any questions, feel free to post them online. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.